All right, so I wanted to bring you guys this replay on Prokhorovka with the new feature they put in, and I'll probably bring this one sooner rather than later, right? I'm always way ahead with my videos, but I'm recording this on the 24th. I hope to get this to you guys on either the 25th tomorrow or the 26th. And we're going to be looking at this new feature, and honestly, I'm not a fan of it, but on Prokhorovka, I'm really not a fan of it because what they did on this map was for light tanks made it even harder to spot the rest of this map with this new, bombers flying out of the sky and hitting the ground. Because what it does is it takes away like the bushes from like here all the way to like here. And I just find, actually, no, it's further, it's like to here. And I just find this to be kind of dumb because now you're making it even harder for light tanks. This map is already very, very tricky for light tanks. You can see we're outspotting the even here, and I'm actually even able to get a snapshot, or rather an on-the-move shot with HE into him, and someone is able to eliminate this guy from the game, which is beautiful. But this feature that they put into the game now takes away your ability to safely scout the western side of this map in a light tank, because you can no longer use the bush line because they take out like this entire area of the bush line. So now you can't advance using the bush line, so you have to get more creative. And some may say that this is good, but I'm telling you from my perspective as a light tank, this is really stupid, man, because it's just going to make the games much more likely to end in a draw, and I've seen that. I got this map. I was talking to one of my subscribers about how often he was getting this map, how often I was getting this map, because Wargaming is, they're basically forcing people to play this map extra as long as you don't have it disabled, right? Because according to the, and I didn't look at this setting yet, but according to the features update, like news update, whatever you want to call it, when they come out with a new patch, in that, I forget the term that's used. I believe it's like patch notes or something. They said that there's an option to turn this off. I might do that, but then you're going to have a longer queue time, probably. Might not be that noticeable, but I'd rather just leave it on, guys, because then you're more likely to get proc, and it's still decent. Like, you can still active scout, right? Especially with the Hawk 30. But again, man, it's just like, they were trying to get people to play this map a ton so that they could see the new feature, right? So they had like Runeberg going a lot, they had Prokhorovka going a lot, and a couple other maps, I'm not sure. I think one is like Pearl River, and then there's one more, right? And I was just seeing these maps all the time. I think I got Prokhorovka in about, I'll say like 70 or 80 battles that I played on my days off. I probably got Prokhorovka like 10 times, and I got it like 7 or 8 times from the south spawn, right? And I prefer the north spawn. So we're doing our best to try and spot these guys. The T-44-100 was just like scouting the whole game. I don't know why this guy was doing this. And then I got into another game and he was doing the exact same thing again. We both got into the same game on the same side again, like back to back. And that's how often these guys were doing this, right? So you can see how often Wargaming was putting you on these maps, right, I should say, to clarify. Now you can see with this new update that these planes now take out the bush line from here all the way to here, right? So this is a really big chunk of bush line, of bushes that are being removed, right? And what this is doing is really making it much more tricky for light tanks to do their job, right? Which again, some people might like. I personally do not like this at all because it was already difficult to spot Prokhorovka, and now you're in a situation where you can't even like pull up here anymore and be safe in the bushes. When you poke up here, there's no bushes here and stuff. If someone's sitting up here, you're very likely to be outspotted in this area. And if someone's sitting in here passive scouting, you're much more likely to be spotted in that area and be outspotted, right? Because there's just no foliage. And what Wargaming is trying to do here is make this a brawling zone to encourage people to be more aggressive. So you can come out like this, get behind this like plane debris, right? And then you can go further and try and like sit here, and then the other team could do the same thing. They can come up like this and sit and try and go hold down. And like, I get what they're trying to do here, but I just find this to be like really dumb, man. because Prokhorovka was already one of those maps where unless you were a really, really good light tank player, like it was really hard for light tanks to be good on this map, right? And now you have a situation where you're basically allowing tanks like really, really good hold down tanks to now take advantage of this line, just like they can take advantage of this line. So this line, once this happens, more becomes like it invites aggressive play. And I remember playing one game specifically where a Jagdpanzer E100 pushed all the way up into here, right? And he was just like setting up binocs because he can go behind this plane, and his hull was his lower plate was hidden, right? And he can kind of angle a little bit so that he couldn't get hit by like anything, right? Because you need really good pen to hit to be able to penetrate the Jagdpanzer E100. And I don't remember what our tier 10 was, but he wasn't able to counter him. And then their entire team just pushed in, man, and absolutely annihilated us. So that's how one game happened. Pretty much every other game was a draw other than that one. So we'll keep going here, guys. I'm going to go back to my camera view here, sort of. And yeah, like this is what you have to do now, man. I have to now come up over this ridge line, risk my tank to try and spot the Su-130, because especially in the Hawk 30, I can't just run down the bush line anymore, man. You know? And this really bothers me. Like, it really does, guys. I just don't agree with this at all. I think the special events on all the other maps are fine, but I just really don't like it on Prokhorovka, man, because I'm a strict light tank player pretty much, and I just find this to be dumb, man. You can see another guy's trying to push in and make this work, and it just like doesn't work. Like, it only works if you have really good armor, man, and you can kind of push in and attempt to like set up binocs or something like that. But it's just, I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't like it at all. And now as a light tank, you have to constantly be like making these passes, right? And you have to run CVS. You can still outspot people like this, but it's all going to be active scouting now. And your only way to safely approach this, if this random event happens, is to try and run down the middle, or just risk it for the biscuit, right? And just go for it. Or you just active scout the whole game. And it leads to a lot of games being draws. I hate to say it, but that was my experience. I had like 4 draws on this map in the like 9 or 10 games I played on it, right? And a lot of the other ones came down to the last minute or 2 of the game, right? In fact, it might have even been more than that, maybe like 6 draws or something like that. Like, it was insane the amount of draws that I was getting on this map, and that's what this is doing now. Like, Wargaming putting this in, that's what it's doing. And again, I like that they put in a feature where you can turn it off, but again, it's like, then you'd be waiting longer in the queue, right? Because it's 4 maps that they have these special events on, and they're probably going to add more of them. So if you turn it off entirely, then you're really going to lengthen your queue time compared to other players, right? So it is what it is, guys. I'm just accepting it. And again, I don't mind it on any of the other maps, but on this one specifically, I just don't think this is the right move by them. I don't think anything was broken on Prokhorovka. I think North still has much better options when it comes to scouting, and I'll show you guys that. I know I've showed these positions many times before, but you still have this location, which is really easy to get to. You still have the E1 area, which is not as easy to get to, but you still have it, right? And these 2 passive scouting locations are like the king on Prokhorovka, man. I'm telling you. Like, I use these 2 locations all the time. So they keep those, right? It'd be nice if these planes knocked out the E1 area, maybe. So then I feel like this team would have a slight advantage, or like it would help the light tank on this team a little bit, because they took away the bush line right here. Like, I used to like to poke up like this and get in this bush line, this little bush like I showed you guys, and now they've taken that away. So it's like, what the heck are you supposed to do from the south other than active scout, where you still have these 2 spots for the north, you know? And it just does, to me, it's like, it was already harder to passive scout from the south. And like, I could just go on and on with this, guys, and why it's not the best idea, but it's like, overall, man, it is what it is, and you end up coming all the way back here, right? So this is where I'm kind of passive scouting now. I'm just sitting around waiting to see if someone's going to push, because it's the only safe location you can get to. I've tried going into like here and stuff, but I'm telling you, like, from this area right here, and especially if someone's in E1, which we countered E1, you can get spotted, man. and you just don't know. Like, there's a Borisk out there. He could be running CVS. The Hawk 30 doesn't have really good concealment, and I actually tried to make it work, right? I tried to go up here in another tier 10 game, and I got wrecked, man. I got absolutely wrecked up in this area trying to make something work, because I bet you the Borisk was sitting like in here or something, and it's like, again, guys, I can go on and on and on with this, and I told people I'm 50-50 with it, usually leads to draws, because again, I can kind of get what they want to happen over here now, because people were very, very passive, but that was the whole point of it, right? Was that if you were good at playing a light tank, you could outplay enemies in this area and make things work for your team. Now they're just inviting like all kinds of hold down vehicles to try and push instead, right? So I feel like it takes away the role of the light tank, man. That's really what I feel, and I feel like it also makes it just much harder. That's overall my opinion on this, guys. You know, and then we'll just continue watching the replay, and be done talking about this. But that's how I feel. Those are the two ways that I feel. I feel like it's kind of taking away the role of the light tank on this western portion of the map, and I feel like it's making it harder to spot and scout, right? So that's all with that, guys. I think we touched on it enough, and you're going to see the outcome of this game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a draw. Luckily, we're able to outspot the FV and get some damage here, man. And this is all I can do safely. So we're just going to keep poking up, trying not to get whacked by the Sioux, because he can hit me in this area, right? If I go any further out, like over here, the Sioux will spank me. So I can't do that, right? If he's up in this bush, he actually pulled back a little bit. And that's what we're doing, man. We're just constantly trying to active scout this. I'm spotting the Skoda again for Artie, trying to stay on the move so I don't get hit by their Artie. Is he still alive? Yeah, the Lorraine. And that's all, guys. Like, we just do this for the rest of the game. And eventually I can try and push, but I don't think my guys even have the render range all the way at the back of the map, because this is as much as I can do. And the clock ticks down and ticks down and ticks down, and I think I eventually just like go for it or something, man. I don't know, we'll see here what happens. Trying to spot the Skoda, and then eventually I'm just going to run down the bush line, kind of stay in the middle here, spot the Gorilla, smack the Gorilla, and then I get whacked by the Sioux. People are able to get some shots into the Gorilla. Sioux kind of goes dark here, and that's it, man. Just didn't have the time. Draw both games. What can you do? Again, this was the guy that I got with. So this was our second game, I think. The first game I played with him, we were both doing the same thing. And yeah, and I said, I see a pattern. So that's what I'm seeing, guys. That's how I feel about it. You guys let me know in the comments how you feel about it, but I really think it's going to make a lot of games end in draws on Prokhorovka. And you would think that a lot of games already do end in draws, but when I'm the light tank player on Proc, most games don't end in draws, man. You know, they really don't. Like, I understand the game mechanics enough where I can usually lead my team to victory, at least on the western side of the map. And if I can't, then I'll camp passive scout while other players try and push in and eliminate our team on the western flank. So that's it. I mean, we did close to, actually over, I think it was over 7,000 combined. And I'll show you guys the end plates. But I think if you leave this feature on, you're going to be seeing a lot more draws on Prokhorovka. I don't think it really does much on the other maps. It opens up some areas where I know on like Runeberg, it opens up kind of a middle area through the buildings, I believe. I'm still not quite sure what it does on Pearl River. I have to take a look. I think it opens up that tunnel area in the middle or something like that. And maybe gives some hard cover. I also know on Runeberg it gives a little bit of hard cover because you get all this debris that falls in the city area, like on that middle road. So again, guys, I don't really see the point in them adding this. I even said in the chat, like, it seems kind of stupid if I'm being completely honest. And some guy was like, okay, bud. Like, he was trying to like make fun of me. Okay, bud. And I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. You know, like, if you don't like my opinion, then you don't even have to say anything. But that's my opinion on it. And hey, man, you know, okay, bud. So let me, I don't know why Google Chrome was open. I'm trying to open these end plates, guys. There we go. Show you the end plates and I will let you guys go, but if you can tell, I'm not super thrilled about this. And here you go, over 7,000 combined still. I think we did a really good job of spotting the enemy team. I probably should have tried to push in a minute sooner, but we still died trying to push in because that's the only way you can do this now, right? Like, it's very hard to push in via the bush line. I think I kind of YOLO'd there at the end because we had to spot everyone, but Sue ended up outspotting me, right? Because he was up on the hill, and he can sit in a bush. And this is why I tell you guys, you need that entire bush line, because if you don't have it, then TDs with binocs are just going to outspot you. It's like, WTF, man. You know, like, what are you doing, Wargaming? Like, it's already hard for light tanks to play on this map, man, and understand the game mechanics so well to try and drive through the bush line. There's already TDs with binocs and mediums with CVS that you've allowed, and now you've taken out the bush line. It's just like, I just don't get it, man. I just like, whatever, man. You know, just keep making the game harder for lights. Why don't you guys? You know, so that's all, guys. We'll take a look at the detailed report here. I think we've seen enough here. I was top by experience here. Oh no, second by experience. The T-44-100 played a really good game. This guy had 3,800 damage and was active scouting the whole game like he was doing in the first game. It was kind of weird, but it paid off for him. And he's probably trying to 3-mark the tank or whatever. And 130k we made from this, and that's all, guys. I think I've talked about this enough. You know, I would obviously love to hear your guys' opinions. If you like it, that's great, man. Again, I think it's a cool feature, just not on Prokhorovka. You know, I just really hate on Prokhorovka that they have to take out the bush line like that. And even if the planes crashed and didn't take out the bushes, I'd still be okay with it. You know, you want to leave the bushes so that light tanks can still scout and stuff. But you want to put more hard cover there to encourage people pushing up. That's fine. All right, that's fine. But yeah, the whole bush line thing, guys, like, I know I sound like a broken record, but it just ticks me off, man. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Take care of yourselves. Until then, bye-bye now.